lost my job on March 7th, 2024. I loved my job.
Is anyone else sick and tired of this job market that we're currently in?
And now we're in one of the most difficult job markets I've ever seen.
Today we're going to be talking about the job market and how nobody's hiring, even though new jobs are listed every single day on Indeed. People have to apply for hundreds, if not thousands of jobs, which just, it seems like I'm over exaggerating, but I'm actually not. Just to get some callbacks and interviews and more hoops to jump through for them to end up saying, you know, we actually don't need the position filled. Good luck on your job hunt, that kind of stuff. So I have some videos that we could watch and talk about along with some comments from previous videos. So leave your comments down below and I'll pick some of them out for the next video. But we're gonna start off this video with a lot more statistics and actual proof on how it's more difficult to find a job now more than ever.
What's the job market looking like in June 2024? Let's talk about it. In this video, I'm going to break down the current job market across 3 different metrics and then give it a score out of 10. I'll also share my thoughts on where I think the market's headed. So the first thing we're going to take a look at today is unemployment rate. As you can see based on this graph, this thing just keeps going up and up. In fact, it's climbed all the way up to 4%, and that's definitely not a good sign. What this means is there are more and more people who've potentially been laid off or just generally struggling to find jobs out there, and that's definitely not a good sign. The second metric we're going to take a look at today is job openings. As you can see based on the latest reading here, the number of jobs open out there have definitely dropped off quite a bit. And when you think about the number of jobs open going down and compare that to the unemployment rate going up, that basically means there are more and more people out there competing for very few jobs, and that's definitely not looking too good. So with all these factors considered, I'm going to give the current job market a total score of 3 out of 10. And that's mostly because unemployment continues to go up and the number of job openings continue to trend downwards. Going forward, I do see the job market improving, but keep in mind it's going to be a very slow process getting there, and it's all going to start with the first rate cut, which people think could be as early as September, but no guarantees.
This is after they've already delayed rate cuts, I believe, in June, at the beginning of June. But that was just thrown out the window, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's even more delays in September, which would just make this even worse. But you saw through the graphs, unemployment is up and job listings are down, which even the majority of job listings on Indeed or LinkedIn now are ghost listings. It's unbelievable. I guess it's the way to hide that we're in a recession because, oh, you know, all of these big companies are still putting out job listings. It's just nobody's actually getting hired. So it's the illusion of, you know, growth in a company. We need more people to work here when they're not actually legitimately hiring. We have a comment from one of my previous videos. Crazy thing. I just got off the phone with a friend that had his job for 12 years and he told me he got laid off 2 weeks ago because they're downsizing due to decreased sales and inflation. And this was on the same video that I talked about my own experience with my father. He's been working at his company for more than a decade now. During COVID, he ended up getting a slight promotion and working at a different department in the company, which actually adds into the ghost listings because his company put a listing up online and then hired from within, that actually just hiring my dad that already worked there. So all the people that most likely applied for that job did not get any answer whatsoever, but he got moved to a new department, you know, learned that job, got a little bit of a pay raise, and then out of nowhere during COVID, his entire previous department just completely got laid off. So if my dad wasn't lucky and was able to get that new job just because he's a hard worker and the company wanted to teach him instead of actually hiring somebody outside the company, he would have been fired. After more than a decade worth of working there and loyalty, and it's the same thing with this comment. It's unbelievable. There's no job security. There's no loyalty with employers anymore. I honestly don't know how people are functioning through this.
I lost my job on March 7th, 2024. I loved my job. I was marketing director for a restaurant group, a very successful one, 5 restaurants in LA that went down to 1 restaurant in Los Angeles in a matter of months. It's May 7th, 2024, and I still don't have a job. But why, Gailey? Why? I don't know. You tell me. I'm a pretty well-connected person, I would say. I think I'm likable on a good day. And I'm freaking out.
So I mean, also on top of this person losing their job and it being very difficult to find another one, I thought another little tidbit in this video was that she was working for a company that owned 5 restaurants in LA, and I would venture to guess that they were probably a little bit more expensive restaurants. They didn't own 5 Applebee's. I would guess that they'd be a little bit more upscale for all the rich people that live in LA, and within a matter of months, 4 of them closed down. So not only did all of those people get laid off and now obviously have to find a new job, but that shows that restaurants are taking a hit even in places that have a ton of wealthy people like LA. Even those kind of people are taking a hit and don't want to go out to eat anymore. Here's another comment from one of my older videos that I thought was kind of funny. There should be an option to give our degrees back in exchange for student debt forgiveness. Because if you can't find a job right now, you're just going to start drowning in debt. Because, I mean, the requirements just to apply for any normal job now is basically a bachelor's degree and above. And a vast majority of people who have those degrees did not get it for free. They're in tens of thousands or even possibly 100,000 plus worth of student debt, and they can't even get a job to start paying it off, and it'll just start compounding.
I have literally applied to over 100 jobs. Over 100 jobs, and I just like can't hear anything back. And if I hear anything back, unfortunately with other candidates, like, why are all of these places hiring but like won't fucking hire someone? Like, I genuinely don't understand how there's hundreds of jobs out there, but like I can't get one. Like, I don't really get how, like, where the disconnect is with that. Like, me and my boyfriend are trying to move to either New York or Colorado, and I get like the market in New York is probably really competitive, but like I should not have to apply to over 100 jobs to be able to get a job, and I still don't even have a job. Like, I'm gonna have to apply to fucking 100 more somehow. Like, it's so frustrating, the market right now, and I just like don't know what to do.
I mean, maybe she has a better chance in Colorado because it's not as populated with as many people, but like New York City, I'm glad that I never wanted to do that as a kid, live in the Big Apple and, you know, be in the city environment. I was never really into that because I don't know how you'd get a job there at all now. We'll check out some of the comments from this video. It's always urgent hiring and then no one responds. 10,000 likes on that one. So many people are hiring but want 5+ years of experience for a position that pays $18 to $20 an hour. And not to try to disrespect anybody that does work for these companies, but you could go to like Walmart and Amazon and you go up the ladder just a little bit. I'm not talking about like the manager of the whole store or something like that. You could be like a department lead or like head cashier or something like that. And you could start making that kind of money that people need a bachelor's degree just to be able to be considered to hire for those like normal corporate office companies. And I know it's not as easy as it sounds. A lot of retail really does suck. I've had jobs in retail. I think almost everybody has, and it is very taxing, but you don't need a degree. You don't even really need to finish high school. And if you work your ass off there, you could probably make more money than some of these people who graduated college. Another comment here, most aren't really hiring. They need to post for legal reasons, but most won't hire anymore, which goes back to my example with my dad. But now we're gonna watch a video from a recruiter, so somebody whose job it is to get other people jobs.
I've been in the recruitment space for coming up to a decade, and I've never seen a job market that's so difficult on candidates. You have to apply to literally hundreds, if not thousands of jobs before you start hearing back. We're seeing response rates of around 1 to 3%, meaning for every 100 applications you send through, you're gonna get 1 callback. And that's if your resume is on point. We're now seeing longer interview processes, 3, 4, 5, 6, even 7 rounds of interviews. And then if you don't get ghosted, you're more than likely gonna get a low ball offer. In an employer market, the employers have all the power. They can get longer processes, they can force people back to the office, they can pay less, and they'll still find people that wanna work for them. This is a stark contrast to the Great Resignation, which was a candidate market. Candidates had multiple offers, companies had to move quickly, and remote work was very popular. The good news here is that because it's an employer market, and the job market is like any other market, things will change and it will return to a candidate market eventually. From a lot of people I'm talking to, it's gonna be potentially around the election time or after the election moving into next year that we start to see more demand for hiring come back. And then we'll start to see things like remote work, higher pay, and flexibility come back because that's what candidates want during the candidate market. The Great Resignation 2.0.
I mean, I guess you could hope for that, which turns into next November, but I don't pay attention to politics at all, but basically just being on the internet, you really couldn't avoid the first presidential debate. I don't know why I couldn't remember that word, but how much of a mess that was, and I don't care what side you're on, I don't think it matters who gets into office this November. I think it's still going to be a train wreck for the next couple years to come, so we could hope that magically people start getting hired right after November, the beginning of the year, but I don't know how somebody's just going to pull a switch and it just all starts working itself out. Some of the comments from this video, just from my experience, if you're going through 7 rounds of interviews, you don't want to work for that company anyway. Huge red flag. And any of those crazy ones where it'll say on applications or your job offering that you need to be a team player and your salary doesn't really matter. It's about the culture of the environment, all of that crap. It's just basically their way of being able to overwork and underpay you, and you're a part of the team. It doesn't matter that like it's actually your livelihood and how you'll survive is the amount of money they'll pay you. I don't know, I'm at a loss for words. I don't know how people go through it. But with a couple other comments here, this is corporate punishment for the Great Resignation. And my fave is the master's degree for $15 an hour posts. I don't even know how people have the balls to do that. I feel like that's more disrespectful than anything. I mean, at least for me, I've never been a school person. I dropped out of community college. There's no way I was gonna get a bachelor's degree, let alone a master's. But imagine going through all of that, getting into tens of thousands of dollars worth of debt, and then somebody offering, I mean, $15 an hour is $30,000 a year. You have to actually live in the middle of nowhere in the US for $30,000 a year. Because it's not actually 30, what is it, like 26 or $27,000? And the price of everything going up, like you just can't survive.
The United States job market is fucking cooked. For reference, in the past few months, I've applied to 1,400 jobs on LinkedIn alone. I've applied to hundreds of jobs on Indeed, hundreds of jobs on the company's direct website, and I've gone around in person to around 100 jobs, giving out my resume and having interviews that way. And I'm here to tell you from firsthand experience, it's all a sham. It's a disaster. Hiring managers aren't doing their job, and companies are posting ghost jobs. Oh, not to mention super profitable companies such as Google are now laying off employees, although they're having record-breaking profits. All well, boomers and people that don't understand on the outside that have a no touch with reality go, oh, you're just not working hard enough. Or people go and get a job in retail. Look, some of these jobs are minimum wage. The worst part about it all is how discouraging it's become. It's almost like I want to accept defeat, but I'm not going to. But I'll go so many times through 3, 4, even 5 rounds of interviews just for them to tell me that I'm not the right candidate for them, and then they'll repost the job. They're saying we're urgently hiring. It's a load of shit. It's a lot. And it makes me really frustrated. Thankfully, I'm going to be starting some side hustles that'll be getting me some extra income because this job market is so cooked. We are in a disastrous job market economy right now. There's no other way to sugarcoat it. It's a fucking shit show.
I know we could probably go off in a whole tangent with like side hustle culture and all of that, but it's almost like it has to be the norm. Somebody has to have some sort of side business going while they already have a full-time job, not even like a part-time job, like what I did when I was doing normal part-time job at a pharmacy, and then I was also doing the reselling stuff until I realized the reselling could kind of go full-time, and I was able to drop out of the part-time work. Like that's not what's going on here. They have to do it just to be able to get a baseline and not go into poverty. Some of these comments are actually pretty eye-opening on this video. New laws need to be passed to ban ghost jobs entirely. Max interview time being like 5 hours, which I even think that's crazy. I think out of all my jobs, I don't even remember having a second interview at any of my jobs previously. It would just, if anything, it was something where you applied online, maybe they called you so they knew you weren't like a robot, and then you had an in-person interview, and if you weren't like a psychopath and a normal person, it'd be like, all right, when do you want to work? That was at least my experience. That's definitely not people's experiences now. Another comment here, most of these jobs don't exist. Companies show that they're hiring for tax benefits and to show investors business is booming, which I believe that 100%, because if you show stock investors that like, hey, we're not hiring right now, stock goes down, and that's basically the only thing that these big companies care about. They don't care about any of their workers, any of their people they care about. Revenue constantly going up, so their price could go up $1 or like 50 cents on the stock market, and all the people that have an unbelievable amount of stocks, all the big CEOs and higher ups, could make a ton of money off of their investments. Now we got a video of a guy that's just losing his mind because of this. I mean, it is pretty funny, but pretty upsetting at the same time. We'll just watch the clip.
Is anyone else sick and tired of this job market that we're currently in? You go on LinkedIn or you go on Indeed or wherever you go to look for jobs, and all you see is a list of thousands of jobs that are urgently hiring. And then you apply and it takes weeks to hear back, only for them to say no. I mean, you go through weeks of application, of interviews, of Zoom interviews, of all of these different hoops that you have to jump through, and then at the end they're like, oh yeah, we don't have this position available anymore, by the way. Not to mention that you have the most basic entry-level jobs that are requiring a master's degree, that are requiring 10 years of work experience, that are requiring 5 years of community service hours. If a company puts that they are urgently looking for an entry-level accountant, and I just graduated college with my accounting degree, shouldn't I be eligible for that position? Well, apparently not. Apparently I'm actually so ineligible that I can't even get a damn callback for an entry-level accounting position that I am more than qualified for.
The dude looks like he's about to cry, and I'm not trying to make fun of him, but I mean, I guess that's what happens when you're finally out of college and you start applying for jobs and you literally get nothing. He is snapped. Here's some comments from that video. Requires a master's degree. Start paying at $16 an hour. Again, $32,000 a year, nothing. Then old heads act like it's easy. I just don't get how you get experience without experience. I mean, especially entry-level jobs. I mean, next comment right here. Entry-level job, 2 to 3 years of work experience required. I mean, other than getting like a mentorship while you're in college for like something that he said, like an accounting degree. I don't even know if that's a thing. Maybe it is, but does that mean every person who ever goes to college now, while they're taking all of these classes and paying a ton of money for it, and also having a part-time or full-time job because of how expensive lodging is and food and all of that, at the same time, then they also need to get a mentorship, which most of the time is not paid. If anything, it's very, very bare minimum pay, if you could even get that. All at the same time for 4 to 5 years to get a bachelor's or master's degree. That sounds insane to me. And we're gonna end off on something that I think is I guess a gray area, because it's not illegal, but I'm starting to see this pop up even more, and I bet it's going to become even more prevalent with all of the popularity, or maybe that's not the best word, just the issues with the job market, because there's a lot of videos like this that I've seen on TikTok.
Here's the highest paying remote job that you can do from anywhere in the world in 2024. No degree, no experience, and no social media following required. And you can do it in 1 to 3 hours per day.
So the new cool thing is that everybody wants a remote job so they could sit at home or wherever and go travel around the world and still be able to make a good amount of money, because they'll just flip open the laptop, work a couple hours and be done. And I get that that does seem appealing, but then there's a lot of these people that will make videos where it's technically possible that you could do this, but when you start seeing the comments, it starts getting a little shady. A lot of people post about this, but it truly seems like nobody shows step by step on how to exactly do it, which I guess is a normal comment, but almost seems like a bot comment when you see the entire comment section of this. Now, click the link in my bio to grab my free beginner's guide for step-by-step info. But then when you go and click on it, you didn't really see anything free. Maybe it's like super buried, but this one's $497, $49, $47, $33, and it's not that much money, but it's still in the same realm of like the previous videos that I've talked about, like sports betting people that will, you know, join my Discord group or pay for my picks, and it's like a $500, $1,000, $2,000 course, or whatever you want to call it, just to get this guru's picks, and then the guy actually just makes a whole bunch of money from you purchasing his picks, not actually getting like the betting correct. And there's tons of different niches, all the crypto stuff that's happened in the past, the affiliate marketing, which we'll get to in a second, the digital marketing, all of that stuff where it's not illegal, but it does start to get a little murky, because then you see more comments here. They want you to pay $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 to learn how to do it. exactly. They tell you to buy their $400 resale course so they could profit 100%. And then the person who actually made the video never replies to any of those comments. They reply to the comment that goes, how could I do this? I need a step-by-step. And if you really wanted to search, you could probably find all of that information that she has in that course online for free. And I'm not saying that she's scamming anybody with her course, but I would venture to guess that as soon as you buy the course and you learn how to do the affiliate marketing, the digital product, all of that, you don't just magically start making a whole bunch of money because of that. You still need a very good product, or to be able to compete and do it better than everybody else who's been doing affiliate marketing for years now online. So it's not just an instant, oh, I know how to do it, and you start making money. You're still basically almost at square one, other than having the knowledge to do it, but not really being able to put it into effect and be successful with it. You have the same thing with this video here. Now, this is somebody talking about how to do affiliate marketing through Home Depot and making $6,000 a month, which immediately just sounds to the normal person like clearly unrealistic. Now, I bet people could possibly do it, and maybe even she does. But the amount of people that could legitimately do that for a living are so low that everybody who watches this TikTok or comments or any of that will most likely not be able to get anywhere near that, even if they do have all of the knowledge and buy people's courses and look all this stuff up, because the competition would be so fierce. I mean, you could see in the comment section here, if this were true, everybody would be doing this. I mean, you can't really put it better than that. Obviously, everybody would just sit at home, copy and paste affiliate links all over the place and make $1 million, and it's just not what's gonna happen. So, I mean, it's just really upsetting to me, and I think we have a couple more years of this. I don't believe that magically in November, if Trump goes into office or Biden stays in office, that it's just magically going to fix itself and everybody's going to get a job and inflation's going to go down, interest rates are going to get cut. Everybody's going to start feeling like they have a good amount of money again. It's just, I know that's a pretty depressing thing to say, but it's just kind of the truth, at least for me. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.